we can never say it often or loudly enough. Immigrants and refugees revitalize and renew America. Immigrants like you are more likely to start your own business. Many of the Fortune 500 companies in this country were founded by immigrants or their children.
Immigration remains a major issue for the Obama administration and on the campaign trail. Thanks for joining the Hardline. I'm John Bachman, in for Ed Berliner. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz traded jabs that same night during the debate over what to do with illegal immigration already, or I should say illegal immigrants already in this country. And another candidate thinks the two Cuban-American senators are just missing the point.
Yeah, literally, they were arguing about something that didn't happen and making a big point about it. Come on, man. I mean, what we need to do is have a president that has a plan that fixes this mess, controls the border, lays out a strategy, gets approval from Congress, goes about the business of fixing the illegal immigration system and also fixing the legal system.
Come on, man. Jeb Bush poking fun at fellow presidential candidates, Senators Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, with Cruz accusing Rubio of supporting amnesty for illegal immigrants. Remember that during the debate? Bush says he is the only man in the GOP field with a consistent plan to overhaul our immigration system. But who is the best candidate to win over conservative and general election voters when it comes to immigration? Welcome back to the Hardline. Former senior special agent for Immigration and Naturalization Services, Michael Cutler, also joining us, immigration attorney and columnist for the Philadelphia Daily News, Christine Flowers. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Hardline, guys.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Michael, let's start with you. There has been a consistent back and forth since the debate last week between Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz. A lot of folks who get down into the weeds in this issue say Cruz looks like the winner. What say you, sir?
Well, it's really the jury is out. You know, Cruz was the guy that wanted a 500% increase in the number of H-1B visas, wants to double the number of lawful immigrants. But, you know, we've got to make a very clear distinction, and we've got to remember why we have immigration laws in the first place. It's about making certain that we protect the jobs of Americans and American and innocent people's lives. There's a world of difference between illegal aliens and aliens who are lawfully admitted into the United States. And if you think about the vetting process we're hearing so much about of late, it's not just about refugees or K-1 visas. There would be no way to vet millions of illegal aliens who enter our country by evading the vetting process conducted at ports of entry. It would open this up to problems concerning national security, public safety, and it would further flood the labor market at a time when how many millions of Americans are unemployed. The system isn't working to protect America or Americans because the U.S. Chamber of Commerce sees in that massive flood of people coming across the border wealth. They want unlimited tourists, unlimited students, unlimited cheap labor.
But it does seem like the American people want some sort of solution here. Christine, we have this side debate going on between Cruz and Rubio over who supported what and who did what in the Senate. But are we any closer to getting a real answer on what's going to solve the issues that Michael just mentioned?
No, and John, I agree to a certain extent with what Michael has just said. The primary goal is to protect American jobs, American security, and American safety and welfare. But you have to understand that some American families are hybrid families. So you may have children who are U.S. citizens. You may have parents who are U.S. citizens who have illegal immigrants in their families as close relatives. So it's a very nuanced position. As far as the fight between Cruz and Rubio, I think Jeb has it right. I think, you know, they're throwing flames at each other for something that never ultimately happened. And there's really no purity on either side. Ted Cruz voted for work permits. Now he's against any kind of legalization whatsoever, which is unworkable. Rubio worked with the Gang of Eight on and Chuck Schumer across the bridge, you know, Democrats and Republicans, to try and arrive at some kind of immigration comprehensive reform. That failed as well. So again, I think it's a little dishonest for either one of them. Rubio.
I do that too. I've done that one too.
We're both Cuban. Cruz or Rubio to say, well, I'm the one with, you know, the clean slate here, and you should elect me because I represent the best interests of the United States on immigration.
Should one of these two, Cruz or Rubio, go on to become the nominee, it does seem like they are putting themselves kind of in a corner when it comes to coming up with a immigration solution that would appeal to independent voters. Now, we're looking at this, and neither one of those guys has the poll numbers that Donald Trump has on a national scale. But there are Hispanic activists right now. We cover this on Newsmax.com today. Hispanic activists say that they plan to punish Donald Trump by signing up 1 million immigrants for citizenship who will then vote for Democrats. Do you think this will make any kind of difference, Michael?
No, I have to tell you, I don't know how immigration became a discussion about the Latino voter. First of all, I don't know a more disgusting way of profiling or going to the idea of stereotypes, prejudice. This is about America and Americans. 40% of the illegal aliens in our country did not run the border. They entered through ports of entry, violated the terms of their admission. What has been lacking from the conversation up until very lately, because of the terrorist attacks, is the abject lack of enforcement of our immigration laws from within the interior of the United States. That was a major finding of the 9/11 Commission, to which I provided testimony. I was an inspector at Kennedy Airport for 4 years. I was an agent for 26 years. I spent half my career with the Drug Task Force. We have 50 border states. The impact of illegal immigration and unvetted immigration is being felt most heavily within the ethnic immigrant communities. Unemployment is a problem for the minority communities that surpasses that for the non-minority communities, and increasingly middle-class Americans are losing their jobs to foreign workers through H-1B visa programs. I'm registered as a Democrat. I don't see this as a left-right issue, but a right-wrong issue. I happen to agree with Christine about both of the candidates, but I got to make one quick observation. You talked about the bridges. It's interesting that Schumer said that people who trespass on bridges and other landmarks should face a federal 5-year penalty in jail, but yet when you trespass on America, Schumer's the first guy to offer citizenship. He lacks, I think, mouth-ear coordination, don't you think? He doesn't hear what comes out of his own mouth.
Well, I think a lot of Democrats are too quick to look for a solution without really examining the problem. You kind of laid it out for us there, Michael. This is a deep-rooted problem that goes all the way back, perhaps, to the Reagan amnesty during 1987, and it's gotten worse and it's metastasized ever since there. Now, Christine, again, we are having these debates, but now we've had this issue of San Bernardino, the Paris attack as well, and people are now again focused on terrorism so much. I guess immigration has fallen to the side. It's kind of linked up to the terrorism concerns, but they are not talking about it in the way they were at the beginning, let's say, of the summer when Donald Trump first raised the issue.
Right, that's true. And I want to quickly go back to something that Michael said. I agree 1,000% that it is despicable to try and make the immigration issue into a multicultural or into an ethnic appeal to the Latino community. This is outrageous. I deal with many Latinos in my practice, and they themselves are upset at this sort of a trivialization of, for example, the whole idea of naturalizing people so that they can then go and vote against a particular political party, that to me is disgusting, repellent, and it truly, truly is upsetting. There shouldn't be a conflation again between the immigration problem and national security issues. And and Ted Cruz voted against the USA Freedom Act, I believe, which has something to do with national security and the vetting and the collection of information from American citizens. So you can separate out national security issues from the more basic, as Michael was talking about, Chamber of Commerce, economy, economic issues with respect to everyday bread and butter immigration. But again, I just want to go back and emphasize that it is despicable that any group would presume to speak for 9 million Latinos in the United States and use them as a cudgel, a weapon against a political party with which they have disagreements.
I agree with you 100%. This goes against everything this country stands for. You can't take a whole entire group of people and predetermine how they're going to vote before they're even given the constitutional right to vote. And also, Michael, the Latino immigration community, maybe it still is, but it won't be the largest for very long because you have Asian immigrants in this country, which is a booming population as well. And it seems a little short-sighted by these folks who want to register these Latino voters and have them vote just against Donald Trump in this one election.
Well, and it's the pollsters who do this. They keep coming out and saying, well, according to the polls, it's infuriating. I get very angry when I hear about black voters, Jewish voters. I happen to be Jewish. I mean, every Jew votes the same way. Every black votes the same way. Again, this is discrimination. This is bigotry. It's profiling on a base level that's really un-American. We need to understand that we are all Americans, irrespective of race, religion, ethnicity. E pluribus unum, out of many one. And this idea about splintering America so that the pollsters can work their demographic magic, and very often they're getting it wrong anyway, it's infuriating, and we should all be disgusted by it. I think Christine and I certainly agree on the issue, and I think most Americans agree. And when I travel around the country, I can tell you that many Latinos are upset, and they're upset for another reason. We've got many Americans believing that anybody who has a Latino last name is probably an illegal alien. Imagine the serviceman or woman coming back.
Yeah, you can say that for a lot of different subsets of this country, too. There's a lot of stereotyping that goes on and seems to get even worse this political season. We'll have to wrap it up there. Christine Flowers, Michael Cutler, thanks so much. Much more to come here on The Hard Line. We're going to talk about Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders in the debate.